Okay, so we're here for Penny's session, and we're talking about positive reinforcement and ways that we can influence the dog to do things that we want. We've only been here for a couple minutes, but I've noticed that the dog jumps up on the guardian and climbs up on top of the guardian. Typically, and there's nothing wrong with having a dog on our lap if we invite the dog up, but if the dog jumps up on its own, it's kind of taking rather than asking. And that's the difference between a leader's mindset and a follower's mindset. From doing the initial conversation and kind of talking about the dog, I think that basically Penny is a little bit confused as to where her position or what her status is in the house. So we just got in going over a number of rules to help the dog start to see and identify as a follower. In this video, we're going to talk about how we can use positive reinforcement to reward the dog for desired actions and behaviors. Now, right now, Penny only really knows the command word of sit. And so I'm going to go through a little tip here in this video where we can help her sit more frequently and offer a sit in his way of asking for attention, which is something we like to call manding or learning to mand. So basically, if anything a dog is doing when we pet it is what we're reinforcing and amplifying. So if a dog jumps up on me and I pet it, I'm training the dog, saying, if you want me to pet you, jump up on me. So instead, when the dog jumps up on me, nudges me or scratches or barks at me for attention, I'm going to give the dog a counter order, tell it to sit. So I use this motion to put a dog in a sit, and then once she sits, I pet under the chin, and if she puts her paws on me, up, sit. Now if I say it over, there we go, sit. Now when a dog does what I want, I like to pet it on its chin to facilitate the nose up orientation I mentioned off camera. And then I'm going to pet her, and I'm just going to say the word sit. The more words we use, the harder it is for the dog to understand. So as soon as she comes over to me and she sits, or if she nudges me, I'm going to give her a counter order, tell her to sit. When she does sit, then I pet her and I say the word sit. Now, if she starts to put her paws up on me, that's a dominance move. Can you see me in the shot, or are you just seeing Penny?
Just her.
Okay, so let's come back up to me. Okay, so if a dog is putting its paws on you, then it's telling you what to do. It's trying to dominate or control you. So as soon as she did that, I stopped petting her. And as you saw, that stopped her from doing that, and then eventually she sat back down. Now, I like to use a hand motion like this. Penny, to put her dog into a sit, I start and I go in an arc over their head, and as soon as she sat down, then I pet her under her chin, and I say the command word. Okay, let's come back up. All right, so the more that she tells me what to do and I do it, the more she thinks that she's in charge. The more that I give her a counter order and ignore her when she tells me what to do, instead tell her to do something else and then pet her for that, changes the leader-follower dynamic. So she goes from thinking, I can tell the human what to do, to I have to ask the human. Not only do I have to ask the human, I have to pay the human. And I pay through a currency of obedience. What will happen is enough repetition is the dog will come and sit in front of you and say, I'm sitting to ask for attention. She'll prepay for that attention. And when she does that, we want to make sure we pet her, and we're going to, again, say the command word. This leads me to something I like to call passive training. Passive training is the same thing that we do with that teachers do with kids and parents do with little kids. So if we have a child that does something right, they might get a gold star, or they get their report card or their test on the refrigerator or something like that. So when a child does something we want, we make sure we showcase and spotlight that so that the child knows that's something that the human likes, and that hopefully we're going to emulate that behavior. So this is the absolute easiest way to train your dog. If every time Penny comes to me, I pet her and say the word come. Well, after enough repetition, she's like, because this is the end result that I'm looking for. Now, when we're doing traditional training, we're trying to lure the dog into coming or doing the thing. Well, for passive training, we just simply wait for the dog to do it on its own and just showcase it. So every time Penny comes to you, pet her and say come. Every time she sits down, pet her and say sit. Every time she lays down, pet her and say crash, or whatever your command word is to lay down. I taught my dog to stretch on command this way. Every time he would stretch, I would pet him after he stretched within 3 seconds and say the word stretch. Took about 2 months, but now I can say stretch and he stretches on command. So passive training and petting with a purpose are the two easiest things that you can do to help your dog start emulating and offering good behaviors, because it helps them see that I have to offer something, I have to be polite to the human by offering a sit or whatever it is. And when I do offer those things, that's a great way to get the human's attention. Most of us train our dogs to do the wrong thing. For dogs, good attention and bad attention from us is pretty much the same thing. It's validating to get the human's attention. We would rather be ignored than yelled at. They would rather be yelled at, but don't yell at your dog. It's not a good thing. So basically, the more that we pet the dog with a purpose, the more they're going to respect us because they can't tell us what to do anymore. And the more that we use passive training to reward the dog for desires, actions, and behaviors, we're training them to do the things that we want. A lot of us, when the dog does the wrong thing, we say, off, get down, or whatever it is. And then the dog's getting the attention for doing the wrong thing, and over repetition, the dog will start offering that behavior. So if we get in a habit of just simply petting the dog when it does things we want and giving it a counter order, telling it to do something else before petting it, will help the dog respect us more as leaders and also help the dog boost its self-esteem and confidence because it knows new skills, and also train it to behave better. So these are some tips and tricks you can use with positive reinforcement to help your dog behave and respect you as a leader.